What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of SSPN season previews. And today, Ethan, we're going to be talking about the sophomore. I don't want to say superstar, but when it comes to Spurs fans, he's basically a sophomore superstar. That's
Mhm.
Jeremy Sochan, who started for the Spurs last season as a rookie. And despite the circumstances, that is still something that doesn't happen a lot in Spurs world, Ethan.
Mhm.
Let's just jump right into it. What are some of the things that impressed you and are the strengths for Jeremy Sochan coming into this season off of his rookie season?
Right off the bat, things that should carry over that he had at the beginning of his rookie year: defense, versatility, and playmaking. Those things should easily transition from game to game for him. Those are natural abilities for him as well as just physical gifts. And with another year with these teammates with a full off season under his belt, those things should only improve as chemistry improves and as repertoire improves. And with Wembanyama next to him, who obviously will help a lot for him, especially matchup wise. But things that kind of improved for him last year that I could also think that should be strengths this season: finishing around the rim, footwork, possibly an in between game as well. Like his offense really it blossomed as the season progressed, and we started seeing glimpses where like maybe his comparison to Kawhi Leonard isn't that far fetched, Jude, because he had
Right.
moments of posting up at the elbow as well as on the block, showing some up and under, some turnarounds, some fadeaways that I don't think either of us saw from him, at least in his rookie season, coming out of Baylor. So that's something that I would expect from him this season as a sophomore, to have a more pronounced role in the offense. And then you mentioned this in the KJ video, so I won't forget it this time: strength in transition. He is a lob threat. If he can get out and run, hopefully with a little bit better of a ball handle, um, we'll see a lot of highlights from him in transition,
Yeah.
because he's really athletic as well. Something that's underrated for him, because he doesn't walk or run that athletic, but he clearly is very athletic. He's springy. So those are definitely his strengths going into this season.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of overlap here, but I just want to touch when you talk about his bounce, man.
Yeah,
Just think about the Sabonis dunk. Like as
crazy.
much as it was kind of like a little bit people could say it's technically not a dunk. To me, that's still a poster.
Yeah,
Obviously, we're Spurs fans, but I think even most people who aren't Spurs fans can go look at that play and be like, even if you don't want to call that a dunk, it's a poster at
yeah,
least. You know what I'm saying? And so
yes.
I know that's just one play, but still to do that to a guy like Sabonis at 19 years old is like, it just encapsulates, the excitement that a lot of Spurs fans have about Jeremy
Hmm.
Sochan. So obviously defense and versatility were the first two things I wrote down too, man. We saw what he did last year coming in, regardless of all of the offensive growth and the struggles therein that happened last season. Um, Defense was there from the jump, and
Hmm.
versatility on defense and switchability on defense was there from the jump. And that's why at the beginning of this video, I mentioned how impressive it was, despite the circumstances, to be a starter in San Antonio. I guarantee you the reason is because of that.
Hmm.
I mean, guarantee it. Probably Pop was like, all right, let's just be objective. Who's the best defensive four we have? And it was Sohan. As much as we love our boy KBD, good
Hmm.
luck to him in Phoenix. And I don't know who else is going to play the four. Our boy Barlow potentially.
Dougie McBuckets.
Dougie McBuckets might play there a little bit. By far, right.
Hmm.
When it comes to that, it's not even a question. And that just, I mean, that's just so Spurs.
Hmm.
That's why it showed us why we picked him at number 9. But I don't want to go too into my overall thoughts here. Getting back to just some of his strengths this season. The other two things, other than versatility, offensively as well, as you mentioned with his playmaking ability that we saw, with that just going on both sides of the ball, it's his offensive potential as
Mm.
well. And that's when you talked about all of the different things that we saw throughout the season him add to his game, whether that was in the post, whether that was a little mid-range jumper here and there after we saw the improvement in the shooting, which is another thing that you can harp on. The free throw shooting as well, the three-point shooting increase, although still, not anywhere where we want it to be, still that coincided with his improvements as a free throw shooter. So with how much he improved in so many different areas, dude, it's hard to put a ceiling on him right
Hmm.
now. on both ends of the floor. So that's why I wrote down offensive potential for that one, because he just showed improvement at so many little different areas, which was, that was something we didn't expect, like you mentioned. And then the last thing, it's just as Pop says. I just wrote down the nasty in
Mm.
quotes, because we know that Jeremy he wants all that smoke.
Yes,
Let's
he
put it
does.
that way.
He's the Twitter king. I love the way he goes at guys.
He
And
is.
the hairdos, everything about him, his personality, that's a huge strength. I'm glad you mentioned that. And I will say this is another strength, just because it's my thing on this channel, Jude. Fighting.
There you go. Right.
I love it when guys fight. And I love when guys get chippy. And he doesn't get bullied. He will not let veterans bully him. So I'm hoping for at least 5 fights this season from Jeremy Sochan.
I love how I'm a UFC fan, but I feel like Ethan, he doesn't want the UFC. He just wants
No.
that in during a basketball game.
I like fighting when
The
it's not
con
supposed to happen.
There you go. I
When
love
it's
it.
strict
I love it,
emotional.
bro.
It's strictly like, you made me mad, I'm
Oh my
coming after you.
goodness.
I love that. Or you bumped my teammate, so I'm gonna come after. I love that stuff, bro. I watch videos of that all day.
This is why we do this show together, Ethan. Do you have anything else kind of on the strengths, or do you want to move to improvements?
Let's just jump to improvements,
Okay. All right. I'll start off on this one and then
please.
dish it to you. I really didn't have too much, man. I
Mm,
mean, because defensively, there's not really much to critique there. I mean,
yeah.
I'm sure there's little things here and there, but I mentioned this in another video. It's like nothing that we can really talk about. It's only like the nitty gritty that the Spurs coaching staff really knows, when it comes to his defensive improvements. Um, so yeah, it just really comes down to, I wrote down a tighter dribble, because we know
Mhm.
he has playmaking ability, but you've mentioned this on an episode a while back, I forget when, and I agreed with it. Sometimes he would let the dribble come a little bit too high, be a little loose with it, and that would lead to turnovers. So you just want that to be a little bit tighter. And I think just the stakes of this season being much different than last year, even though they're not going to be a playoff team. Just when you have Wembanyama on your team, I think everybody's just going to be a little bit more on point, and not as loose with their dribble. So I think that will help, but also just in general, getting that ball handling down, a little bit closer at 6'8". And then shooting. I mean, and you could talk a little bit about how, maybe seeing some more, just like a lot of the moves that you talked about in the mid range, just becoming a little bit more creative off the dribble, adding a little bit more skill. But I'm trying to keep in context, it's still his second season at the same
Yeah.
time. So I really think just shooting in general, whether that's, obviously the 3-point shooting, but also in the mid range as well, because we saw that get a little, it seemed like he added a little bit of a mid range jumper, near
Mhm.
the end in the second half of the season. And I think there will be more opportunities for that with Wembanyama. I know we say that with everybody on the roster, but when you bring in somebody like Wembanyama, it really
Mhm.
does affect everybody on the roster. So just continuing to increase the shooting percentage, have a little bit of a tighter dribble, and that ties in with ball handling. And then just as I'm talking, also, adding little nooks and crannies here and there offensively, of things we haven't seen yet, because it feels like he's a guy that can pick up things quickly and add them to his repertoire, more than others, let's say.
Mhm. Yeah, echo those two improvements. Just black and white improvements are the biggest ones for me as well. Ball handling and just consistency shooting the three ball. He has the willingness now because of the improvements he made last year, but now it's just kind of getting that efficiency number up. Uh, this is not really an improvement, but I would like to see him get more opportunity as a ball handler in pick and roll situations, especially with Victor Wembanyama. And there might be situations where they switch. They can pick and roll for each other. One can ball handle while one can set the screen. So I know that's not really improvement because we haven't been able to see that really, and that does kind of stem in with ball handling as
No,
well.
but it would still be improvement, because it would be showing that you can be a pick and roll ball handler.
There's growth there. You're right. That's an improvement. We need to see growth in that area for him because right now he's kind of being shoehorned in as a power forward because of those weaknesses in his game where he really
Right.
hasn't have had the greatest handle in the world. He hasn't had the opportunity to come off of screens that much. But as soon as he adds that to his game, is he playing one? Is he playing three? Is he playing
Right.
four? He can play any of those positions because he has the athleticism to do that. The difference between him and Draymond Green is kind of because of his build and his athleticism, is kind of shoehorned at that 4 spot,
Right,
even though he has
right.
the skill set of a
We'll
1 or a
see him
3
take it up the floor sometimes.
every once in a while. But Sohan, not to compare him to two of the greatest players of all time, has the potential to kind of have a role of a Scottie Pippen or even a LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? That play style of being able to
No,
be a
okay.
point
Yeah.
forward.
Yes,
Obviously
absolutely.
not
That's
LeBron
why
James is the
Pop said
GOAT,
that.
but
Sorry.
or second GOAT, depending on your opinion of him. But yeah, exactly like Pop said. Um, so yeah, that's something more that I would like to see moving forward rather than improvement, I guess. But
No, yeah, I mean that's something I would like to see too. And I, when I was laughing earlier, I was like, "Dude, you're mean right now. Like you want to run this Sohan Wemby pick and roll." And I know it's not going to be like this season or be league dominant this season. But when you said that, I'm thinking like 5 years down the road. I'm like, "Dude, you're
mhm,
mean." Like
it's so
we
dirty.
could. I mean, we should. Like absolutely, we should. And even in other situations, this all stems. The whole reason, like I brought up the point guard thing and you started talking about it or anybody started talking about it is because mid-season Pop in a press conference said he's really a point guard. That's
Yeah.
the only reason we're bringing all this up. Like, and when you see his skill set, and like I said, we've mentioned how we've gone back and watched a lot of the highlights, as we're getting closer to the season, right?
Mhm.
You can hear Dan Weiss in like two different plays in Sohan's highlight videos. It's like point Sohan, like
Mhm.
because we forget that little stretch of the season that where he was kind of having to do that. We started Malachi when Trey got hurt, but it was really and although Malachi definitely showed his combo guard skills, there were a
Yeah.
lot of times in that lineup where Jeremy would bring it up, and that's what Dan was referencing. So we'll see how that, it's going to be really interesting to see how he progresses in his playmaking because it is going to impact his position. Because Pop doesn't just say that for nothing. Now,
Mhm.
does that necessarily make him a one automatically? No. I mean, maybe if his shooting keeps going up, maybe you feel like he's more of a three. I mean, that's really where LeBron and Scottie Pippen play, like you mentioned with that comparison. Now, we're not saying he's necessarily going to be those two dudes, but when it comes to play style and a physical build, like you said, that's exactly what we're talking about. So give me your overall thoughts on Jeremy, and then I'll read you what I wrote.
He has an opportunity here to be the best sophomore in Spurs. No, Tim Duncan and David Robinson. I'm forgetting
since
those two.
since the dawn of the 2000s. There you
Yeah,
go.
since the dawn of the 2000s, we'll say that he has the opportunity to have in our memory to have the best sophomore season as a Spur, because of how drastically he improved throughout the season last year, and he's been in the gym. I think he was in Dallas for a time this
Yep.
offseason. He traveled to Poland, obviously. He's probably been working out there, and he seems to really love San Antonio, so he's going to be a fan favorite. I hope he gets more opportunity next year, just involved in the offense, trying to score the ball.
Okay, I have to bring up a picture right now before I read my stuff because you're talking about how he loves San Antonio, and I gotta just say that this man is for the culture.
He
Like
is.
like whatever, y'all cannot slander him in any capacity because he's just a San Antonio man, even though he's only been here for like, you know, a year, right? Maybe last June. That's when he got
Yeah,
drafted.
last June.
Okay. I promise this is going somewhere. I'm pulling up a photo of Jeremy with something San Antonio related. Um, that I just that I just have to show you guys. All right, we're here. We're getting very close. All right. Stay with me all. You're going to be so happy
I'm already
when
happy.
when you see this photo because it's going to show that he's really him. Look at this.
Oh,
Look
yep.
at this. Family over everything. Who have you seen a picture of a Spurs player with two employees inside of an HEB?
Nope. Nope.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
And those are
He
two real San Antonio
those
guys.
are
Those aren't
that's what I'm
actors. Those
saying,
are straight up
bro.
real San
He's
Antonio
in
boys.
here. He's here with the people for real.
Mm,
Anyways. All
love it.
right. Now let me read you my overall thoughts on
Go ahead.
Jeremy. Jeremy Sochan proved why the Spurs picked him at 9 last season.
Mm.
Remember all the Tari Eason talk, the Kai Jones talk? Speaking of Kai Jones, you sent me a video earlier, and I'll just say that the Spurs are, or he would not have fit in the Spurs culture. Let's put it that way.
Mm-mm.
Still just 20 years old, the world traveled Polish, English, Oklahoman If y'all don't know that, Jeremy was born in Oklahoma, even though he kind of grew up in Europe. Showed potential last season in so many areas. Starting as a rookie under Greg Popovich is rare, but that had a lot to do with Jeremy coming in being a versatile and switchable defender. Everybody has their rookie moments, but Sochan looked like a perfect defensive prototype for a modern four in today's league. Couple that with his shooting improvements on the floor and at the line last season, on top of the flashes he showed in the mid-range and the interior, and Sochan begins to feel like a robot that the Spurs are in the process of building until his skill set is rounded out and complete.
Mm.
Kawhi comparison. I mean, that's really what it feels like. He and Wemby on the floor together in whatever capacity it ends up being should get Spurs fans pumped. With how much Jeremy improved last season, it's hard to get a solid grip on what Jeremy's ceiling could be. I'm excited to see the leaps he's made after his first NBA offseason.
So well said, Jude.
Any,
And with
any,
proper enunciation and dictation.
I guess that's why I was a writer. Or now I'm writing again. So
Yeah.
there you go. There you go. Any final thoughts on Jeremy? How about this, Ethan?
Mm.
Favorite hairstyle from last season?
Ooh, I like the. It was like blue, pink, blue, pink, blue.
Okay.
It was like Fiesta colors. Maybe he had some orange in there, but it was like striped going backward,
Okay.
kind of.
I got you. I like the this is definitely the LSU fan in me, but I like kind of like the purple and blonde. You know what I'm
Mm.
talking
Yep.
about? Where it like fades into it. It's kind of like purple and gold. So that was my favorite. We took the L though. It's okay. The Spurs aren't going to take, well, no, they will take L's this season, but we took the mad W in the lottery, baby. W for Wemby. We in this thing. Oh, yeah. Eat it up. Eat it up like Jameis. There you go. All righty. We appreciate you guys. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content today. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at SSPN on YT, at Jude McLaren, and at Ethan_Quintero to stay updated with all things SSPN. Tell us your thoughts on Jeremy in the comments and what you're most excited for this season, and we'll catch y'all in the next one.